increase in.
Mike, before we start, it's 10 AM on a Friday morning, but already there's a queue of people down the hall at the Citizens Advice Bureau here in Grays. Busy times.
Busy times, yes. We're suddenly starting to see the effects of the economic downturn. We're 17% up on inquiries this year as compared to last year, and we've still got about 7 weeks to go when we looked at those figures. So that's quite a startling increase. And we've also got some quite interesting increases in the categories. We've got a 26% increase in housing inquiries. We've got a 22% increase in debt inquiries. And we've also got an 18% increase in employment inquiries. So obviously there are many people out there who are starting to suffer and coming to us for advice.
And when you say housing inquiries, could you specify what type of inquiries they are?
Well, we provide housing advice across the whole strata. So we deal with things like repossessions, evictions, rent arrears, but there may also be, looking at private rented tenancies. People have queries about perhaps how their landlord is treating them, or perhaps how they can find somewhere to live. So we provide advice right across housing issues. Anything around housing we deal with, but that is quite a staggering increase, 26%.
And in order to help, I believe there is now a single number, is that right?
We've always had a advice line. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was originally an 0870 number, but because of the situation in the economy, and because that is an unpopular number to ring, it's now an 0844 number, so that's 5 pence a minute from a BT landline. So that's a little bit of relief for people who are looking for advice. There's over 100 different advice messages on there, so when we can answer the phone we will, but outside of our opening hours or when the advisors are busy, you can go through the menu and find all our standard advice messages on there: debt, housing, benefits, etc.
In this time of recession, and especially this week in Thurrock, with the Audit Commission's quite frankly damning report on Thurrock Council, what's the relationship between the Citizens Advice Bureau at Thurrock and Thurrock Council?
Well, we're finding it difficult to communicate with the council. It's difficult times for everyone, we know, but we haven't got, we feel, the relationship that we've always had. Remember, Thurrock CAB's been a local charity for 30 years, and was originally set up by Thurrock Council. So we've always had a very strong relationship, and we see ourselves as critical friends of the council. We work on social policy initiatives to say, well, this isn't perhaps working how it should. And in times past, council officers have respected that, and they've looked to us to give us that sort of check and balance. Over the last year or two, it's been very difficult to work with the council in that they don't communicate with us. A recent example is, they're proposing budget cuts, but no one has come to see me and said, this is what we're proposing. How will it affect your service? Will you still be able to see as many people? Will you have to make people redundant? What about the volunteers? So there's an impact, in Thurrock that has to be taken into account before you just put a line through a figure.
And residents and people outside and inside the borough would probably be horrified that in the middle of a recession, that the relationship between the Thurrock Council and the Citizens Advice Bureau looks like it's in some form of cold war or broken down.
Well, we're very disappointed, and we're sad that situation exists, and it won't take a lot to turn it round. I mean, we have sent to all councillors and all corporate directors this brochure on local authorities in the recession, and this is how the Local Government Association nationally is promoting working with the third sector, local groups to help local residents beat the recession. And in there are many examples of where local CABs are working with their local borough council to put in place simple measures that don't cost a lot, but you know, we'd like to have some sort of dialogue on that and whether we can do that locally. There are lots of good ideas in here. We're taking on a lot of initiatives to try and increase the access to advice. We've recently gone into many of the children's centres in Thurrock, so that parents with children between the ages of 0 and 5, which can be a difficult time, as anyone with children will know, especially economically, when you've perhaps lost one of the wage earners who's caring for children full time. So we're in there on a weekly basis around the borough, on top of our outreach and on top of you know, the 24-hour telephone service, the website. We're trying to increase access to information all the time. We'd like to think that the council will, you know, approach us and work with us and come up with initiatives together.
So you'd like to think that with the housing being demoted from a 4-star to a 2-star, that perhaps that might be the wake-up call to work more with citizen advice?
Yeah, we've had a service level agreement to provide the council's housing advice for 5 years now, and we feel that's vital, that people get independent, impartial advice, not just council tenants. That's not just what we do. We speak to anybody who's got mortgage problems, who's got private tenancy problems, and we think it's vital to keep that sort of service going so that people can get independent advice. It's vital that there's impartial advice around housing issues where we've got no say in either a landlord situation or the council as a landlord situation. We act for our client in an impartial manner to get the best result for them, and we do that right from when people come in here and see one of our volunteers at generalist level right through to specialist level, where we go to court to, you know, stop evictions. And that, in terms of recession, you're not only talking about someone saving their home, you're talking about early intervention. It stops all the court costs, it stops the courts being overloaded, it stops all that government and local government money being focused on one person who might, for whatever reason, be unable to pay their rent. If we can get in there, do the work with them on their debts, do the work with them on their housing, it saves not only that person from being evicted, it saves all that taxpayers' money all the way down the line.